a handful of places left on Earth where humans and animals live in complete harmony.
Where's the hat?
In the heart of Africa, in Kenya, lies the Masai Mara.
Masai Mara?
I came here 1 year ago while building 100 wells
What
throughout
is
Africa,
that?
where I met
So
the
you just
Maasai
stayed
tribe,
there.
an ancient nomadic group that have preserved their culture and way of living for centuries. But just like we see in other places across the globe, greed and human ignorance pose the biggest threat to the natural world.
Animals find their habitat threatened by human activities.
Oh, the
Plastic has reached
monkey.
every corner of the globe.
This threatens everyone.
1 million animals around the world are now at risk of extinction.
But there is a glimmer of hope. This is the Masai Mara Wildlife Conservancies Association, a group of local Maasai people that are doing everything they can to preserve what's left through a combination of traditional methods and modern-day techniques like data science and analysis, ridding poaching almost entirely and protecting the remaining natural resources. But there are now more pressing challenges being faced that nobody is talking about. So Dan and Darren went back to the Masai Mara to see how we can further help this community. And not far from the campsite, Dan and Darren came across something extraordinary. This is Elizabeth, one of the endangered white rhinos the rangers
That
protect.
ain't white. That's brown.
What
What they
a
like?
beautiful animal.
It's unbelievable.
It's
The power, you can like feel it.
27 years you've
Yeah,
been with these
yeah,
animals.
Yeah.
So they're like children to you.
Yes.
These rangers work
That's
day
dope.
and night to ensure the protection of these endangered animals. And because they are all local Maasai people, they have a deeper understanding of who they are as shepherds of the wildlife.
When we arrived at the campsite, we met with Daniel, the CEO of the Maasai Conservancies, to find out what other challenges they are facing.
If you look at the last 40 years, scientific information shows a decline of wildlife numbers, and nearly 40% of the wildlife have been lost. And this was as a
Bro, you
result
know how
of
cool-
habitat destructions.
You know how cool it would be to see a giraffe like that right there in real life? Like, that'd be
Sense of the wildlife have been lost. And this was as a result of
Oh, that's
habitat
great.
destructions in particular.
The downfall in the Mara all started 60 years ago when the land was divided and given to the Maasai people for private ownership. This led to investors buying the land for development and exploitation of resources. Many Maasai had no choice but to accept the money, abandoning their ancestral heritage and putting the habitat that millions of Maasai and animals rely on at risk of being destroyed. To combat this problem, the conservancies came up with a plan to incentivize landowners to lease their land to the Maasai Conservancy in return for a monthly payment so that they could preserve their territory and traditions.
that's cool.
This idea of conservation is just strengthening our relationship with wildlife. and
Hyena?
nature. That those people who are considered as custodians of
Zebra.
wild
Some
animals are now
zebra.
benefiting.
In the last 18 years, more than 24 conservancies have been formed
that
in the
looks like
Maasai Mara, allowing for the
something
Maasai
off of a
tribe
show.
and wildlife to flourish
Like a
together.
movie,
But
that
Tarn,
tree.
the lead project manager for the conservancy, told us that natural disasters and weather events like climate change
I
have
was thinking
proven to be
Black
the
Panther
biggest problem
stuff.
that the Maasai now faces.
Sadly,
realm.
we've had some really unexpected weather events. We've had massive flooding events. We've lost property in the form of tourism camps. And more importantly, we've lost lives from some of the rangers who work out here to protect this valuable ecosystem.
We've seen quite devastating floods. They are coming back
Yeah.
from their normal patrols. They found that water level has risen in the river, so they were actually trying to cross. The vehicles was toppled over by the strong currents of the water, and out of the 7 rangers, 2 rangers lost their lives. They lost their lives in the line of duty, protecting our precious natural resources. We're trying to find a way to support the affected families.
Both rangers had large families who they provided for on a daily basis.
The thing
And their
is,
tragic death has now
they're
left
doing
the
fine
families
stuff
without a
as
source
well.
of income.
Hopefully in the future we can have an alert system to avoid these sorts of tragedies ever happening again.
One way the conservancies are looking to combat this problem is through the installation of weather stations.
Weather stations are crucial for doing the ecosystem monitoring work and ultimately being able to make informed ecosystem management decisions that go into the conservation effort here.
Another struggle is
So
the
they can
complete
plan
lack of
out.
electricity at the ranger base camps, which makes basic tasks like charging a flashlight and powering the current weather stations extremely difficult.
This all goes in to form the backbone infrastructure that these rangers need to be able to do effective ecosystem monitoring and ecosystem management work. And that's been a big shift in how conservation has worked in this landscape over the past 20 years.
It feels like we're at an inflection point in time right now, and if we don't do something about this, it may be lost forever.
We want to do everything we can to make a long-lasting impact on the conservation in the Masai Mara. So Darren met up with Michelle, the president from our long-term partners GivePower. They have been working with the conservancies in generating clean energy for the rangers. GivePower will be supplying the whole ranger station with clean energy to give light at night. And most importantly, power the weather stations and sensors to predict environmental changes and events to protect the Maasai people. And furthermore, expand the protected Masai Mara areas.
So I got very excited about the opportunity to bring power to some of these ranger stations. We also got the opportunity to create a digital connection to be able to transmit important information that they gather in the field to a system that would allow us to start creating carbon credits.
Carbon credits are bought by companies to offset their carbon footprint.
This is crazy because they're doing all that good stuff. The wildlife preserve, none of that. Little.
And allows them to release a certain amount of greenhouse gases. If the Conservancy gets additional weather stations, they will be able to sell the carbon credits to companies that need it in order to continually expand and protect the Masai Mara.
What is a carbon credit?
In addition to the 7 weather stations and solar grids that we installed, Darren is just about to surprise Daniel with even more.
Daniel, we're going to pay for 5 more weather stations.
Pay for 5 more?
I have no words to express gratitude and the Mara community. I'm speaking on their behalf. Thousands and thousands of those landowners who are not here, they are going to be very, very happy.
Thanks to all the work that has been done on this project. This will make it possible for the rangers to be well equipped for their fight to protect the wildlife. The conservancies will also be able to generate their own income from the carbon projects, allowing for enough funds to lease out more lands. That will provide larger areas for the wildlife to thrive, as well as offer the Maasai people the opportunity to live as they have done for centuries.
We're also ensuring that the new generations will have to continue what we have started, because it is also actually changing their livelihoods. It is actually providing income to thousands and thousands of households. It's a blessing to us.
Even after our donation and Daniel's immense gratitude for this to all become a reality, the Masai Mara still needs an additional 5 weather and power stations, which totals to the amount of $100,000. And that is where we need your help, so please click the donate button below. Every single dollar makes a difference. Before Dan and Darren left, they went to visit the families that lost husbands and fathers in the massive flooding. Daniel then explained that Beast Philanthropy will be donating enough money to cover their living expenses for an entire year, lifting this massive financial burden off their shoulders. The Rangers paid the ultimate sacrifice to protect and preserve this land. It's extremely important that we all do what we can to support the organizations making a massive change in the Mara.
We have a short opportunity to take action and do something about it before it's too late.
It's thanks to all of you watching and donating that we can do projects like this with organizations that are protecting our planet and its nature. So again, please click the donation button so that we can hit our goal of $100,000 to complete this project.
That's crazy.